All right. Welcome back, everybody. Line Breakers FC is back after the international break. Joey B, AJ is missing this show. As usual, it's our soccer show from thebreakdownsports.com. You're probably watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Give us a follow on each one of those. And Joey B, we really got to figure out something creative to do during these international breaks. When it's Nations League, it's a little bit tougher. World Cup qualifying, still a little tough. We'll definitely be around for Euros and the World Cup, but we just got to start brainstorming ideas. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I was just saying it's been too many weeks where we haven't done this, and I feel like it was a hard day to get back into soccer with a ton of other sports. You got opening day, and my favorite coach Roy Williams retired today, so sad day for UNC basketball. But that's kind of where my mind and reading and sports mindset, I guess, or sports energy has been dedicated to for part of the day today. So lots of stuff going on, but excited to get back into some footy action for the weekend.
What's your baseball team?
I'm a Cardinals fan, but it's more of just passed on from my dad. I was born in St. Louis, but so should be a good year. I think they put up 7 on Castillo on the top of the first, so pretty good start for them.
Yeah, last night on Line Breakers FC, I was giving Tommy shit on the break room. I was giving him shit because I was like, yo, the MLS is better than the MLB. There's been more promotion about the league starting. It's a better league, and just giving him that type of crap. And yes, we will be talking MLS soon, but there was one, I guess, big note from World Cup qualifiers. We'll get into that when we talk the Bundesliga, but we're going to give you looks like 5 matches right here where we got no action on it, but it's the top matches where we're definitely going to have our eye on it and be watching it. Then, as usual, we're getting into our best bets. Hit us up in the comments with your best play, any games you want us to cover. As usual, you'll pop up on the screen and we'll be able to talk with you. So, I don't know. This probably would have been a while back or even last season. Arsenal still stinks, but last season. But Arsenal versus Liverpool. Neither team is in a qualifying spot right now for a European competition, where bigger shock for Liverpool. Arsenal is kind of trending where, I guess, not where their supporters expected them to be, but coming off of the break, you had some guys get some run. You had Salah playing for Egypt, which is kind of where the protocols, it doesn't look like anybody should be missing because it was more relaxed, or if there was protocols that they got back earlier from their team, they missed a game. But here you got Liverpool sitting around plus 120. You got Arsenal sitting at plus 210. You got over 2.5, which is juiced minus 135. And if I had to make a play in this game, I'm going straight to the under, or at least the first half under in this match, because we've seen it with the top 6. They're going under. And both of these teams, yes, the defenses are a little bit more questionable, but the attacks haven't been there. The Liverpool at the plus 120, I think, is a fishy line where I kind of want to jump on that right away because you can get the minus 0.25 at minus 110. First game out of the break, though, I just think Arsenal, even though they do have, it's going to be if they mess up possessing in the back and building out of the back, because that's where Liverpool is going to jump on them. And if Poole gets up early, then this one could probably get to 2-3-0. But I just think the under 2.5 for the first half, I think it's probably going to be like an under 1 at plus money as well. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think definitely a good angle. I imagine maybe more so in the Premier League than like the Bundesliga or Serie A, but some of these Premier League games may start a little slower than normal, which is saying something because EPL is not really a league known for goals as much as the Bundesliga and Serie A are. But yeah, just going off your first half under, I think the under 1.5 is minus 200, and then I just you can throw it in with like a same game parlay with like an under 3.5. And those two together is minus 140. So just, I don't know, some fun, a couple bets you can throw together. But I know obviously if you get 2 goals in the first half, probably obviously you will lose. But just some value thrown together, 2 different plays from the halves. But in terms of a side, Arsenal 210 is kind of enticing to me. I don't know if they'll win it outright. But Liverpool I guess have turned it around a little bit. They do have Champions League at some point. I don't know if they're coming up in this first week, but that's obviously on their menu. And I guess Arsenal are still in Europa, correct? Or did they? I feel like I'm so behind on.
Not coming back in full swing.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough game. EPL has been kind of my hardest. Arsenal play Slavia Praha. But I don't know. So it's tough either way, I think, to pick a side. But I think you got the right idea taking the under 2.5.
Yeah, and I definitely want to make sure Liverpool gets all 3 points. I don't have to be sweating that Arsenal team total on there whatsoever, but it would nice to see Poole get back into that European competition because as of right now, West Ham is like kind of possessing that spot unless with FA Cup and how that all goes, it might start knocking it more down for who gets spots. But here, I just think that'll be your cappers. One of your cappers' favorite play is that Liverpool at plus money. Your capper's second favorite play of this weekend is definitely going to be a City money line or a City -1 in some sort, way, or fashion. Because this, I know they are traveling to Leicester here, but you're still getting Man City at -170. You're getting Leicester at like a plus like 520. It's at a +1 as well. Everything in me, especially the contrarian. Ooh, sun went behind the cloud, got dark here. I just think that's where the Leicester +1 tempts me so much. But if you really want to play Leicester in this scenario, I think your best bet is going to be targeting the team total when they become more available on your books, because that's going to be sitting at a 0.5 or a 1. And that's where I think you get that push because City, yeah, they kind of have this all locked up with 14-point lead, but yeah, they have a game in hand, so make it 11 if you really want to. I think they're going to be fine there. The over 2.5 at -125 is the other interesting angle here because that falls into my away favorites in the minus going up against going up a team that can score. But the City win to 0 has kind of been the cash cow if you've been riding it. So that's where maybe that one might twist my hand a little bit later, depending how my Friday plays goes. But here, no play for me. I would lean towards the Leicester City team total or the over 2.5 here. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, I think Leicester like +1.5 is intriguing. I think +500 or +525 on Leicester is a huge number. Not saying they're going to win the game, but I wouldn't put anyone off putting a little bit of money on that just for them to pull out a shocker. And in terms of spread, I think even in +1.5, you can still get plus money on there. But I will say Liverpool is playing Real Madrid on Tuesdays, and then Dortmund is also playing Man City on Tuesday. So some big games coming up for those guys, and maybe a look-ahead spot more so for Liverpool. I would imagine they're concentrating a lot on Champions League, but they may be looking to get to like a Europa spot at least. So
don't put my arm on that Leicester play, Joey B.
I mean, it's Champions League. It's always hard. Like they've obviously been in the international break. Some of the players have played. So some players are rested, some aren't, and so like the games haven't added up. Like, is it better to fade them post their Champions League game or before? It's always hard to tell, and I always kind of just leave some of these teams alone when they're in that spot. But yeah, I think just a huge number on Leicester. I don't really have a feel on the total. I feel like Man City before the international break was in the mood of just getting a goal and sitting on it, maybe getting a second. So 2.5 is tough at times, but yeah, I think just EPL. I wish AJ was here to have some more opinions on this because it's a league I've stayed away from betting wise, but just anything can happen. But yeah, I think it should be a good game. City -1 probably going to be on everyone's card.
Yes, that's why I want to go the other way. And I'll have 4 of my 5 plays completed by the time this kicks off at Saturday, 12:30. So that might really twist my arm. What do you think about Aguero leaving? Do you think he's going to give it I mean, obviously, since it's locked up, I don't think he's going to power do anything like that. Obviously, he wants to get his value higher, get as much money as he can when he transfers. But that's always a tricky situation when you see the agreement come with a few games left, because that's going to be something interesting to watch, to see how much playing time he gets and to see like his performance out there, because I think he could be a player to target or fade in your fantasy leagues, or in like if you get real down and bet player props in soccer.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they wrap up the Premier League, they may just let him go out for like a victory tour couple games, I guess. There, but will he play meaningful minutes in the Champions League? Be hard to say. But I think he's been at the club for so long and is like such a key player to them that he's not gonna like have a bad taste in his mouth. I think he's at the point where he knows he's kind of over the hill in a little bit and kind of looking for maybe it's something where he's not on the best team in the world or one of the best teams in the world.
And he can always thank Balotelli for helping them win that Premier League, because if he didn't make that sliding play, Aguero would have never gotten that famous call on goal. That's a great clip. I think it was floating around the timeline like a week ago.
I think I rewatched it on Monday or Tuesday of this week.
All right. So
I always just laugh at myself when QPR, I think after they got scored on that first time, they just kicked the ball away immediately. I always thought that was a little fishy or just like confusing. Like they kick it off and they just boot it to the keeper, whoever's playing for Man City. I think it was Joe Hart probably at the time, but I always thought there was like 3 minutes left and they just give the ball away.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to get into the corner. Dude just completely botched it, like how I would be playing men's league.
Yeah.
All right. No AJ means it's time for Wolves talk. So we got Wolves at West Ham. This one is big line, so you can get some nice money. It is on Monday. There's there's 4 Sunday games. None of them really got my appeal that much other than Villa versus Fulham. But since there's no AJ, we're talking Wolves regardless of who they're playing. We got Wolves sitting at like plus 200. You got West Ham sitting at like plus 155 to 160. Your classic over 2 with Wolves, but this time it's a pretty juiced over 2. The pick, you got the juice towards West Ham. Joey B, I'll let you kick this one off. Give me your analysis.
I think this game just screams 1-1 to me. The draw is the same price as as Wolves money line, basically plus 210 or plus 200 for either one of those. Both these teams, I know Portugal or the Wolves was Portugal. A lot of the Wolves player got play on Portugal, obviously over the international break. So could be like kind of with I don't know taking a drag on their players. I don't know. My brain's not working too well today. But I don't know. I think this game screams 1-1. I don't know if you can hear me still because I had some bad connection, but yeah, I think just 1-1. I think the game ends with 2 goals. I value maybe on Wolves to win, but again, as much as the Premier League has bamboozled me so far, so is this Wolves team. Every time I think they can get a good result, the opposite happens, and vice versa. So tough to say either way.
Yeah, West Ham definitely has some more motivation here because Wolves kind of solidified themselves in the mid-table, even though there is a few matches left. West Ham wants to stay in that Europa League spot. It's good to see Raul. He's back on the pitch. I doubt he comes back this season. If they do, maybe it's the last game or 2 just to get him some run out there. And that's what's really confused me is where you got to at least 5 Wolves players played in international competition in some sort of way. You're going to get that with the better teams in the Premier League. And with Wolves, I think it's a good thing because the players stayed more fresh. They're not going to get into a situation like in the Serie A that I'm going to get into a minute where they're doing other things. They're not training. So that's kind of where I always think when you're playing for your country, it's always the best thing. So I always want players to get to international play. Sure, it might take a toll on your legs, but I don't think it's this game that it happens to Wolves. It would be in a game or 2 where I think they would start to wear out a little bit. That's where, yeah, when you get the draw at the same price as the one team's money line, you almost just have to play the pick on that team because since that's listed at like even the plus 105 there, at least you get to push there. But if you want to be, I just hate playing draws. So that's kind of where if you want to be a draw man, go for it. It usually works out well. I just like playing full sides.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think going off what you said, and I really already lost it, but Wolves, I feel like even West Ham had some players it's usually their best players that are out playing international. So I would imagine even maybe not as many for West Ham had gone out and played, but I think a lot of these players like playing the games that keep them in form and keep them kind of fresh and in game mode more so than if they take 10 days off completely and play the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game and are maybe even more tired than the guys who did play during the international break. So it is kind of counterintuitive in that sense.
Yep, it is Thursday, so we're locking in our place now. Could work well for us. If there is no COVID pops at this point, knock on wood, we've been pretty well in the leagues. So that's kind of where, even in footy, one player doesn't affect it that much. But getting into matches where Juventus could have up to 3 players missing because our boy Weston McKennie couldn't go play for the USA team. So what did he do with a tour? And I forget who the third player was. They threw a party in West. Who was it?
Dybala. Yeah.
Diablo.
Is that Artur? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Artur and Diablo. They had a party in Weston's mansion in Italy. So broke COVID protocols. Looks like they could be potentially missing the match, but it's the Turin Derby where it always seems like in Italy, even though Torino is fighting relegation, they always give Juventus a play, but here this season, I don't think that's going to be happening. All the games in Serie A are on Saturday. People will complain about it, but the Italians never play on Easter, so kind of makes sense there. And yet Torino, they've pulled out 1 point in the past 8 times that these clubs met. They're more often not to find the score sheet than they are to pull out a win here. So that's kind of where, at this line, at this price, nothing's really twisting my arm to play it, because I think this is where a -1 at -125, you got the Juve at -205. I think this is a fun over-under to play. How many Torino, Man City money line parlays will we see at the -170 and -205? It kind of seems like it's the can't lose parlay that we kind of joke and play with sometimes, but you won't see me on that. You got any thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, I want to say value would be on the draw. I think it's a pretty decent price to plus 340, maybe 350 in some places. But yeah, I mean, it depends on what lineup Juventus throws out there. But even Torino, they've gotten 2 wins in their last 5, and even that win against Sassuolo was 2 goals in the last 5 minutes, and they pulled it out. I could see a draw, but Juventus should kind of run over them. I think Torino may be looking ahead at other games where they can pick up points and earn points to kind of stave off relegation a little bit further. So, yeah, I just think it's a tough game, especially with the potential missed players and just maybe the mindset of Juve. I don't know if they really think they have a chance to win the Serie A title, but I feel like the team's not falling apart, but they're just kind of trying to coast through the rest of the season, maybe.
They kept Sarri there. They'd be in a title race, but I think getting Pirlo in the long run is going to be good. He's definitely showing some signs there. It's just the first manager bump, and the team's not as strong as it is, but still, against Torino, I think they pull it out. All right, let's get into the Bundesliga. The biggest news is Lewandowski did end up coming up with an injury. I believe he's missing 4 to 6 weeks. That was expected. We'll see. Poland still ended up drawing against England. Great result for Polska. Happy for them. But Joey B, you wanted to talk about Leipzig and Bayern and the Lewandowski. Is that injury going to have potentially any effect into it? You love the Bundesliga, so this is all you once again.
Yeah, so I think it definitely had an effect on the line, like Bayern at plus 145 against Leipzig. I don't know if I'd take a Bayern money line, but find a way to take a draw or a both teams to score draw just for some value. I don't know if I'd really want to put any money on this game because I think I don't know who Bayern has as a backup striker. It might be Choupo-Moting, but I could be just not remembering correctly. But I think he could be the guy who starts in place of him. But they also still have 10 other guys on the field who are top of the world in their position. So it's not like they're obviously missing Lewandowski is a big deal, but it's not like he's their only good player. But yeah, I mean, also like sitting at the top of the table, Bayern's up on Leipzig by 4 points. So if Bayern gets a win here, that's what 7 points, 7-point lead with I think 8 games to go. So I think if Bayern gets all 3 points here, that kind of wraps up the title for them. But if it's a draw, Leipzig still gives themselves a fighting chance. But I would love for Leipzig to get the win here to put the pressure on Bayern, especially with Lewandowski out.
But they have PSG on the 7th as well.
They do.
So that's a huge reason why I think you're getting plus 145. Man, screw it. That Cappers parlay might even throw Bayern in there at plus 145 because I'll make that way over plus 300. But it looks like Davies is going to be out for a red card as well. Because I was going to be like, you could experiment with putting Davies back up at the natural position that you got him for. But no, he's too lethal of a wing back at this point to do anything different there. I think also Boateng might miss because of yellow card accumulation as well. So that's kind of where, man, if Red Bull could somehow pull out any points in this and make this interesting, I mean, Bayern's still going to win it. We're silly to even contemplate that they're making it because what does Red Bull love to do? They'll probably draw the next 3 matches after pulling out a nice result here. But yeah, plus 145. That's your – I don't have anything. There's the fishy line. Then there's the rat line. I don't have anything higher than the rat line, but this is like the ultra rat line of the weekend with Bayern at plus 145. Yes, they're on the road, but still, it is the top club in the world. Yeah, they're still above it over City. Until City wins Champions League, potentially, Bayern's still going to hold that throne.
Yeah, Davies got a red card in their last game against Stuttgart, and I had Bayern in both teams to score, and they – proceeded to score like 4 goals in 10 minutes right after Davies got the red card. So bring back some memories of that game before the international break.
All right. So that's going to wrap up our match preview. So now let's get into our best bets for what everyone comes here for. And then right before we do that, you can check us out on thebreakdownsports.com. Give us a follow on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Hit us up in the comments, especially during your best bets. We want to hear what you guys are betting this weekend. If you're riding us, if you're fading us, let us know what you are doing. So I got 5 plays this weekend. Joey B, I believe you have 5 as well. So we're just going to rattle off back and forth. And I mean, I was dabbling around in World Cup qualifiers, wasn't tweeting them out. Played a under 23 play in the CONCACAF with Mexico and Honduras, so I was still keeping my eye on there. But now that college basketball is not in the rearview mirror, there's 3 games left. Kind of know already what I'm going to do in those. The English Championship is back. There is a hungry dog on the card, but it does not come in the ship. But so this is kind of where getting my feet back in the water here. It's a league that I don't want to dive headfirst into because it could bankrupt you pretty quickly. But the first match I'm going to this is where the hungry dog I was considering. I'm going to back Rotherham plus 0.25. I got that at even. You can get that at minus 105 at some places. And in this match, they're currently in the last spot to be relegated. But the thing is, they have 4 games in hand, so it's always what can you do with that 4 games in hand? You can either get yourself clear out or you can screw yourself real bad and drop out of there. They're going to have a bunch come in rapid succession, so Rotherham could be a team to start fading in 4 or 5 matches because the championship has games on Monday after this. So I think this is one of them where they know that they need to get some sort of points out of it just because of the accumulation that's about to come. And with that's where, yes, they're going up against Millwall. And Millwall at home, they only have 5 wins and they have 10 draws at home. So that's what ultimately kept me off the money line, where if I get the half cash with the draw, it is what it is. But Rotherham, they're a team that's starting to show some form. They're good to fade early. But right now at plus 0.25 at even, I think they pull out a point here at the worst.
Yeah, I think it's a great spot. I think one of the things I was going to say earlier, but slipped my mind, is this is the time of year where playing with are betting on and looking at the motivation for some of these teams that are trying to get out of the relegation zone or maybe get into a European spot definitely plays a huge part in some of these. They're probably already baked into the lines, but still something to consider with a lot of these teams going forward. And then you always have to look at the team sitting middle of the table who may have nothing to play for, but will still kind of want to go out and give it their all. Maybe some players increasing their transfer value, X, Y, and Z, and stuff like that. So all sorts of different things. But I love the team to at least get a point when they can kind of slowly get themselves out of a relegation spot, especially with 4 games in hand. I think you only see that in the championship.
Yeah, they were badly affected by COVID earlier, so that's where the 2-week break, they can finally get things grooving a little bit more, and it's good. This is where I'm going to look to fade this team hard in about 2 weeks once they had like 7 games and the 14 games where the other teams only have 5. What's your first one?
My first one, I'm going to go to the Bundesliga and take just Dortmund Frankfurt over 3, minus 130. I think Dortmund Holland was kind of quiet during the international break.
Very quiet.
And I think he may come out firing. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call and now everything's opening on my computer. But I think he could get a couple goals. Frankfurt on the other side, one of my favorite teams to back. And they just always get goals. And looked at doing this both to score over 2.5. But it was minus 140, so I'll take the over 3, minus 130. I think Dortmund could go up 3-0. I don't know about 4-0, but I think 3-0 and win. They may get an easy win here. The line's like minus 130 in their favor, but I think at the minimum we'll get 3 goals here.
Man, you're fading the big uglies. I never like fading the big uglies here, especially with this Dortmund team that's, I don't know, they've been fishy more than anything this year, but backing on goals when these two teams play is never a bad angle, especially when you're getting it at, yes, it's minus 130. If you don't want to pay that much juice, just pray that there isn't a goal in the first 10 minutes and you could potentially get a better price. But regardless, if you get that, you're still having to get 4 to cash it. So let's hope that you get that one smooth and through nice and early. All right, so second play in the championship, then I jump into all the top tiers. Man, I don't know. I know I'm definitely a little late to this train for betting it on our stream because I've been watching a lot of their games once DK has transferred there. But Barnsley at minus 0.25 at minus 105 is going to be my second play. Their money line sitting at plus 130. So if you want to go better way, because I'm doing the half cash, half loss potential angle here as well. And Barnsley versus Reading, that's probably your top match of the weekend where you got 5 versus 6 here. You could have Barnsley potentially not playing for a draw because once you get all 3 points there, but there's a decent gap between 6 and 7. So that's kind of where Barnsley is almost locked into the championship playoff. And when you got DK going up there, this team is just pulling out results left and right. They lost to Sheffield, and one of the reasons why, other than this team's pulling out results left and right and DK being there, is they got the new manager in. And with the championship, your games are always stacked together. And this is the first time they've had to extend a break with the new manager. And these two teams play completely contrasting styles. Barnsley presses the hell out of you. So it's kind of like a Liverpool Arsenal because Reading's more of a team that's going to sit back and pass it around. So I'm going to bank on because Barnsley's going to want Reading to play the long ball, play it over the top because that gives them what they wanted to do. I just got to hope that they pull out a win here. I'm just playing a little bit safer at the minus 0.25 and get to watch DK play.
Yeah, I think great bet. I've noticed the trend. A lot of soccer cappers have looked to back them, and Brentford too. I think at times throughout the year playing them either -1, but I think it's a good spot too. Barnsley won't look to lose outright to Reading, so I think that's a pretty good bet. And then I think that just get 3 points and kind of give them some more separation with with Reading and fight for that. I guess maybe top 4 or top 2 spot for I don't know if they're too far out to get that. Maybe a little bit at this point, but just to kind of further confirm themselves in that playoff. But yeah, for my second play, I was toying with this one a little bit. Wanted to take a good juicy plus 180, but playing a little safer here. We got Inter and Bologna, both teams scoring over 2.5, so it's even money. I know Inter's defense has played pretty well, but I think after this international break, they won't be as their defense won't be in as good a form. Bologna is also, I think, a pretty decent attacking side. I looked at taking Inter to win in both teams to score. That was sitting around plus 180. But I'm a little nervous with Inter. I know I think I've said it maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row. At some point, they've got to drop points. Bologna is not the easiest run over of a team that I think they sometimes get credit for. But I just think both teams find the back of the net. Someone should get a winner, maybe even N2 too. But I think it's just a good value sitting right at even money.
Yeah, like that play as well. Inter was in great form, so that's probably a team that didn't want to see the break, especially with all their players that weren't of South American descent, that they all were playing. You had Lukaku at Belgium. You had Christian Eriksen at Denmark. So you saw most of their guys getting play in some sort of fashion. And this one just screams the classic Inter dropping points to someone that they shouldn't do game. And the only way they do that is I don't see Bologna pulling out a 1-0 or a 2-1 result. If Bologna is pulling out a result, it's going to be one of those classic Inter matches where it goes 3-3 or 4-3. Because I'm pretty sure the last time these two played, it was a 3-3 match. It was crazy at the end, or Bologna ended up winning 3-2 the last time these two faced this season.
Yeah, it was. I think maybe the time before this, because the game before Inter had a 3-1 win. It was pretty convincing, but I think it was the game before Bologna won 2-1, and I think it was 2 late goals that they gave up.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I think this bet may not look great early on. It was there were some exchanged red cards in the game. I think Bologna picked up a red card, and then one of the Inter players got a red card and then gave up a late goal. Yeah, I just think Bologna. I don't know if Inter will get the win, but I just think we should see these guys attack each other and at least get each one on the score sheet and maybe get a couple more there.
All right, for my next play, going to the Bundesliga, the easiest one to lock up, the shortest one to always talk about. Let's fade Schalke. Yes, I'm laying a goal 0.75 here, and it's at a juice minus 113. But Leverkusen, I think they have 1 win and 1 draw in their past 6 matches. They just love beating up on Schalke. Whenever they get them, they win by 2+. This one's just a lock it in, fade Schalke, move on to the next one type of play. 9 a.m. on Saturday, or 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. Let's get a nice early winner by fading Schalke, Rex's favorite play.
Yeah, I mean, I think Leverkusen will go up early and go up a couple goals early. And especially Schalke is the team that just quits on the game sometimes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Leverkusen get a couple late goals. Not that you'll need it, I don't think, but I could see this being like 3-1, 4-1, maybe 4-0, something like that. I think another way to look, I looked at the halftime, full time, but it was juiced at minus 140, so kind of a tough bet to make with after the international break and for a team to come out and expect them to just kind of dominate from the start. For my next play, I have a Frankfurt bet, and then in the Bundesliga, the next thing to come up is a Stuttgart bet, but taking them on the money line against Werder Bremen. It's minus 105. I think the implied probability of the price here is just about right, but I just think Stuttgart is the stronger side here. They did just lose 4-0 to Bayern, and they're not as hot as they were to start the year, but I still think they have that form in them. I think this game could be 2-0, maybe 2-1 for them. Werder Bremen, maybe not the highest scoring team, have kind of pulled off a couple shock results through the season here or there, but They just lost to Bayern Munich, just lost to Wolfsburg before the break. They've had a tough schedule, and I kind of think that losing streak is going to continue here with a Stuttgart win.
Yep, and when you look at the history, Stuttgart pulls out points or has 3 wins in their past 4, and the other one was a draw. And you're getting Stuttgart at home here at a short price, -105. Like that play there. All right, so I'll get into my Monday play before I get into my dog of the weekend. Here, maybe I'm grabbing the fishy line or the righty line of the weekend, but I'm backing Everton on the money line at -122, going up against Crystal Palace. And this Palace team has just been just more than anything been disappointing this whole season. So that's kind of just where, yes, I love Ancelotti. Everton has 2 losses to Burnley and Chelsea back-to-back games. But Everton, I don't know, they just always seem to beat up on Palace. When they don't, it's a 0-0 draw. But you're giving me the -120 at home, kind of like Joey B's Stuttgart angle where the implied probability says this is right on. But I'm just going to roll with it here.
Do you know if Zaha's playing or if there's any injury concern or if he'll be in or out?
As of right now, it doesn't seem like anything's going to be of injury concern. Someone in our chat is hammering the Chelsea-West Brom tie, which is wild, but let's see it.
Well, I guess as long as West Brom still gets relegated, I don't care what their results are. I think Everton should be the strongest side. Maybe kind of get back into this post-international break with a good victory there. I'm trying to decide which play I want next. I know you got some fans digging your plays. I'll just go with you mentioned a square parlay. I found one of my own. I was looking to back both of these teams in some way, and so I just decided to throw them together. Taking AC Milan and Wolfsburg, a money line parlay. They're both -190, so it pays +133. With AC Milan, they're playing Sampdoria. I think they found a little bit of a groove just before the international break. I just think they will kind of get back into their form. I know they've been up and down. I just expect them to come out with a hot, like a fire under their butts to get going for the end of the season. Sampdoria doesn't really do much for me. I just think they get all 3 points here. I tried to look at doing the under 4.5 or add on the over 1.5. Couldn't decide. Both of them may come in because I think AC Milan could grind out like a 1-0, 2-0 win here. And then for Wolfsburg, they play Cologne. Wolfsburg may be the hottest team in Bundesliga. And then again, in terms of motivation, I think they're up in 4th right now, so they want to kind of keep pace with everybody and get all 3 points to maybe finish in a Champions League spot. And I just think they're going to overpower Cologne.
Yeah, the Wolfsburg one seems good because Cologne is one of the teams with the highest XGA in the Bundesliga, so it's always good to fade those teams. With Milan, it's just going to be, can they find their offense? Because that was the thing that got them to the table early. And yes, Zlatan and Rebic was probably overperforming a little bit, but I didn't think we were going to see as sharp and as a hard off fall as they did. Maybe it's good for them, but neither of them really got rest because both were playing for the national sides there. But if you look in the past 2, Milan's got 2 and 4 goals against Sampdoria the last 2 times that they matched up. So for some reason, they bring out their finishing boots for when they play Sampdoria.
Yeah, and I think their last game against Fiorentina, I think they were down 2-1 at one point, and then came back to win 3-2. So I think they just maybe it was just that last burst of energy before the international break, but hopefully they come back into this game with that same sort of energy and form.
And then for my dog of the weekend, going to Serie A for this one. We're going to back the Genoa money line at +235. We were talking, I think it was like a month ago, that it seems like Fiorentina was the trendy team. No one seems to be backing them, but this price on Fiorentina is just not right at all. Sure, it's only a +140. This game should be more at your +170, +170, +225 line. And when I'm getting Genoa money line at +235, I got to play it. This team is very up and down, but Pandeva, he was a guy who looked pretty well in the national window. So I'm hoping that he rides it ex-Inter transfer, of course. So maybe that's why I'm a little biased for him. But I just think the plus 0.25 is probably the smarter play here because we could definitely end up seeing a draw. But Fiorentina likes to concede. Genoa, for some reason, has been a team that's pulled it out. I know you used Genoa as your underdog like almost 2 months ago. So riding them at plus 235 against Fiorentina to pull out 3 points here.
Yeah, I mean, I think a great pick, great value. I would lean towards the draw no bet, but that's just me playing it safe. I always find this stuff interesting with like the plus 210 money line, their minus 190 draw double chance. And I think you see that a lot in the Premier League, I think, too. Just games tend to end in the draw, but yeah, I could see this one. I think that Genoa money line draw angle could be good, but yeah, I think value is definitely on Genoa. Fiorentina seems so up and down. But yeah, I think definitely a good bet on Genoa there. And then for my last pick, I'll stay in Italy. I'm combining two bets, but just another same game parlay. But taking a Cagliari draw double chance, and then both teams to score. It's plus 148. I think both teams to score is around like minus 100, close to even money.
Mm-hmm.
And that Cagliari double chance is maybe minus 200. So I think good value here. I just think Cagliari is the right side to play here. I could see this game ending 1-1. I think we'll see a number of those. But if there's going to be a team to win it, I think Cagliari will. They're also trying to get out of the relegation zone. So I just think they are the right side. I think both teams should score. I think there's a good amount of value there, and I'll take it at plus 148 with those two.
They're on the island. Gotta love it when they're on the island because that's a decent travel for Verona, even though compared to MLS, that's zero bit of travel. And you have Cagliari kind of knowing that if Torino, even that they pull out 1 point, they can get all three here, that even one could take them, and I think it pushes them above them due to the goal differential. So they knows a lot's on the table here with Verona, who's a mid-table team. They're 12 to 13 points outside of a spot, so it's kind of where they're probably going to coast for the rest of the year. My only scare is that this one ends in a 0-0 because Verona is one of my favorite teams to back the under with.
Yeah, I think I think both the teams are good under teams. But Cagliari also hasn't been great at home, so it kind of goes against me. But I think this is the time of the year when maybe the travel adds up, the legs get a little tired. But I think I'm hoping it's just a 1-1 or 2-1 game at the very least. I hope I don't get a 2-0 Cagliari win or something.
All right, let's recap our 5 plays for the weekend, and then I got a fun little lean or trend to talk about at the end. So I got Rotherham at plus 0.25 even, and Barnsley minus 0.25 at minus 105. Both of those are tomorrow, so got some nice little Good Friday championship action. Then I got Leverkusen at minus 1.75 at minus 113, and the Genoa money line at plus 235. Those are both Saturday. Have no Sunday action as of right now, but 4 games being on, and if it's looking good, expect a Sunday play. And then Everton money line at minus 122. That kicks off on Monday.
Maybe even a Saturday afternoon play too.
Potentially.
Just like a noon slate just to get a little bit of pass some time because I think what Final Four games are like 5 o'clock Eastern or 6 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, nice and late.
For my 5 plays, I got Dortmund, Frankfurt over 3 minus 130. Inter, Bologna, both teams to score and over 2.5. Cagliari draw double chance and both teams to score plus 148. And then AC Milan and Wolfsburg parlay plus 133, and then a Stuttgart money line. I think that's my only Sunday play. Everything else is on Saturday. So Stuttgart money line is minus 105.
Going to be a sweaty Saturday for you there.
It will be. And it'll be before noon pretty much too.
The best way to start your day. So the one trend or the one angle is look to back it, couldn't back it with West Brom team total under 0.5s at extremely juiced because since Tuchel's taken over, they haven't conceded a goal at home. It looked too good to be true with both angles coming there because West Brom team total is just something I played before. But when you're laying that minus 150, minus 160, there is zero chance. But if West Brom scores at any point in that match, I'm definitely going to be betting a live team total under on them.
Yeah, I mean, I just look thinking like both teams to score. No, would be a good bet, but it's at minus 176, which I think goes right in line with that West Brom team total. But you can get Chelsea win to nil minus 135. I think that's pretty good value. But yeah, I think if West Brom gets an early goal, you can hammer that live team total under.
Yeah, let's hope they score in like the 5th minute for our sake. Then that's 7:30. I will be up watching that. But until then, that was Line Breakers FC, brought to you by thebreakdownsports.com. It's MLB. Our team's rolling with a bunch of content there, so check out our website for that with our Gap to Gap pod. We have pods all across the sports now. We got live streams across the sports. The Kevin Durrell NBA show is going to be live in probably just a few minutes as we are just wrapping up. So give us a follow. Always comment on our streams. We love when you interact with us. Half the time you interact with us, you usually end up winning some free swag or some free gear. You can follow me and Joey B under our heads. If you want to chirp at us if our plays, tell us you're fading us, tell us you're tailing us, and let's have a good weekend and let's cash some plays.